So 174 is a protest provision again. Whole chapter is dedicated in this particular book. Um, we are not going to discuss this uh, in in a very thorough way, simply for the lack of time. But let me just say a couple of things about part 174. So 174 is the section that deals with protests. Protest is a way. We already talked about fines, penalties, and forfeitures, where we learned that one way to avoid forfeiture is to file a petition. But for more subtle issues, which are not outside of seizure, outside of forfeiture, such as issue of classification or issue determination of value, or other things that are done through customs determination by, let's say, increase of duty rates, right? By way of providing CBP Form 29 and liquidating it at higher than declared. Those things are taken care of through what's called a protest. Protest is a specific statutory and regulatory creature which has its own devices because it is a post-entry process. Very often customs brokers are because customs brokers usually deal with transactional things. This is more like not like a transactional thing, but more like a thing which is taken care by through the process of illegal writing, where you have to prove customs. You have to through your burden of through the burden of proof, right? And burden of proof includes two things, right? Burden of production of evidence, which customs obviously looked at the evidence and disagreed. And second thing is burden of persuasion. And burden of persuasion is usually done. It can be done by customs brokers. It can be done by compliance folks who work for the importers. It is also done by attorneys. So it requires more analytical and legal writing things. But going back to, so that's what the protest is about. You submit an argument to customs, say customs, I disagree, and this is why. So once the protest, because protest is more more of a thing for how should I say this? It's more of the post-entry kind of like a standalone separate provision outside of entry realm. We have various requirements that must be met. And recall that I mentioned that three things you must have as a licensed custom broker before you even begin transacting custom business, which is license, permit, and the power of attorney. Well, here we are with the power of attorney again, because customs broker, so there's a good chance to review. So attorney-in-law, if it's a lawyer, they execute usually what's called letter of engagement or retainer agreement. Some states not even require that. So I think in the state of New York, if you are below 2,500 threshold, it's recommended but not mandatory, for example. So it's varies state by state depending on where the license is at. But pretty much when attorney comes forward, this is good enough. For customs house broker, notice that the statute that I'm talking here, I'm sorry, the regulation here, I'm talking about the paragraph 2. It talks about says, okay, licensed customs broker can file protest, but for that they need to have a general power of attorney, and the general power of attorney is required before transacting customs business, and that third prong that I mentioned, and that third prong is codified under section 141.46. Again, be librarian, make notes of those sections, folks. Very important sections.